Right,
Yeah.
starting.
And this.
We just started it. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi. We made a video yesterday, but I had to take it down. So, for those of you that thought that there was a video up there, but we took it down and we're going to redo it. So, what we're going to be talking about is going to talk about 2025 and the energies of 2025. We're going to be talking about the divine masculine, divine feminine. So, just to clear that up, um, I'm going to show you a video of a woman right now, but you could interplace that with a man at any given time, right?
Mhm.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about straight up is something that um, Ginger noticed, which was that this year began with 119, and if you mirror that, it's 911. That was the first day of the year. So that's kind of more with like WTF this year. Um, and the real key to it is to not be touched by other people's chaos. People will go through chaos this year, and we need to, or I think we need to incorporate everything that we've learned and just be a bystander and not interfere, basically, and stay in bliss and just witness the chaos around you. Be of assistance if asked, but where you feel you need to take your power back, do so. You certainly
Well, and
can't. Okay, you
go on,
cer
sorry.
you certainly can't carry the misery into this year. So you've got to
No.
really, really stay above the misery.
Well,
Um,
and that's sort of the recipe for being an empowered empath. Somebody who feels deeply has got to learn to clear energy from other people, ground their own energy, and secure their own nervous system, their own body, their own energy body, and then shield. It's so important that we carry a shield in this world because energy is a thing and it'll leak all over us. We leak it if we're not careful. So it's something important for us to learn about.
okay,
The empowered ones are doing this on a regular basis because it's good spiritual hygiene. And we
okay.
need that we need that kind of spiritual hygiene, I think, moving forward.
So we're also going to talk about the telepathy tapes, which I'll give you a link for. And what the other thing that we're going to talk about is a video that was put up by. Can you give me a name? The
I'm afraid I can't. I don't, if anybody can, then we would appreciate hearing that and give credit, but I don't know, Kim, just something
Okay,
I stumbled. You sent it to me, actually. I was thinking I was sending it to you. I don't know where it came from besides
okay,
you.
okay. Right. So I'm going to show you this video. So I'm going to show it to you twice. In the first one, she gets 2022. She gets knocked. 2023, she just looks back with a dirty look. And then 2024, she's empowered.
Think
I'm going to show you one
Yeah,
more time.
yeah,
And I just think it depicts where we're at. And as I said, it's a woman, but it could be a man embracing the divine feminine too. Um,
well, because we have masculine and feminine energies within us, regardless of our gender. We come from the mother and the father.
right. So that came
Every
from Donna.bell at Instagram,
Thank you, Donna.
DAWN dot
Yeah, it's
bell.
very powerful. It's very powerful. I see that because I think it's only recent for a lot of people that they begin to realize that some people around them are really hostile and that they wear a mask of, pretending to be a friend when in fact they're your frenemy. So we've had to learn to set boundaries and this individual is showing, you know what? You can try and slam into me, but you're gonna feel it this time. You're not gonna knock me down. If
Yeah,
you hit me, you're gonna feel it. And so she really pushes her newfound strength back into the person that's
yeah.
attacking, hostily attacking.
Okay. Then the other video I want to show you, which was really weird, this was again, we're talking about divine masculine and divine feminine here. We're not talking about the depiction of the man. that Ginger and I had this weird conversation a couple of weeks ago about the biting of the apple and the fact that men have got an Adam's apple, and that it could be that the man had bitten the apple and it got lodged in his throat through telling lies about the woman biting the apple. And then she sent me this video where I've got to share the sound for this one. Share sound. So this is the one here.
This was so fast, right after we talked.
It was weird. Just hold on, I've got to put the sound on.
Throat.
Hold up. He might be on to something. Hold on.
I'm not talking to all men right here, but what if men lie so much that Adam actually bit the apple and blamed it on Eve, and that's why the apple is stuck in our throat?
Hold up. He might be on to something.
So that was just that Ginger and I had this random conversation about it, and then we found this video on it. So that was weird.
In plain sight,
Um,
in plain sight. And then I think in our conversation, can we also recognize that not all men have very distinct Adam apple,
no,
and some women appear to have very distinct Adam's apple. Is it a sign of something else that we're missing? I don't know. It's I like that image.
I
Nice,
mean,
nice distraction.
I don't know, but I would say that it, for the masculine to embody the divine feminine, it would mean opening up their communication, and that the Adam's apple could actually be a prohibitor of that.
Yes, and yes. So
Because
maybe it's like
and
it's
I
a
mean
block from telling the truth.
that's the throat chakra, and I'm talking about divine here. I'm not talking about the individual. Anybody could have it. All right, so then I had watched a video done by Pam Gregory talking about this year, which I will link to you. But she was doing it with another lady. I'll have to find it and link it. But I'll talk a little bit about what they were talking about coming up in this year. So they were talking about the inner planets and the outer planets, and they were talking about that the inner planets' influences are more personal, and the outer planets being more unilateral across the board. So the conversation went from talking about the outer planets, they're talking about they're talking about a few of the outer planets and asteroids, and she was talking about Senator. So what she was saying was on the 7th of February this year that there's a unique energy coming in, which will give us the position to or bring to our awareness. It's a transformer, so it's a purifier, and it's kind of centered around forgiveness and letting go, and it's a very, very strong energy. So kind of watch out for that. Watch out for intolerances that you've long-term intolerances you've had towards people, and see if they start sort of fading away or becoming unimportant in some way.
Yes.
Um, and then they were talking about radical forgiveness, letting go of resentment, releasing karma, and letting go enough is enough. So Ginger last year went on a really big let them hike. Let them do it, and do not be affected by it. What was the other one? Let them, and
Let go, let them, I'm done.
I'm done.
Meaning it's not my for the first time in my life, I didn't feel responsible for other people's pain and suffering. And it was quite liberating, very,
Yeah.
very liberating. And but I think it was also in recognition that I have no control. Being realistic, I have no control. It's a lot of energy that you give to someone who, just because I can see their highest potential, doesn't mean that they're going to have any interest in changing anything to reach their highest potential. So I think it's very important for us to just let them do whatever it is that they've come to do. It's not for me to say where they should be in this time. So it's about becoming an observer, a very quiet and silent observer, and helping when you're asked. I think I've been sort of having a bit of a fear response over the last 12 years over the revelations, things that have been shown to us. And I wanted to tell everybody. And some people are never going to be able to hear that. I've come to that place now where I can see that.
Hmm.
No matter
Okay.
how much I will it or want it, I just had to really reclaim my energy and stop spilling it on things, situations that I had no control of.
So not about saving them, it's about saving ourselves.
Absolutely, because if we're giving, this is what we need most. Whatever we give is what we need most.
Yeah. So then we also went on this bent about not taking it personally, not taking what other people do personally. And that it came back to that four agreements, that Don Miguel Ruiz four agreements. So don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. So when you're immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be a victim of needless suffering. It's a really big one, that. It's a really big lesson
I
to
agree.
actually not no longer associate others' actions to yourself. I mean, one of the awarenesses I had, which I found quite remarkable along the way, is others other people don't think like me. I mean, it was a long time ago, but
I think
it
a lot of us have that experience where, you know, I don't know. I think it just comes with experience. It comes with the more time you spend with, a greater number of people, you'll come to realize that, well, they don't all think like me. So I think it's quite a natural experience for us to have.
gets a little bit foggy. I mean, if you're talking about all this reflection, so everything that's out there is something that we need to learn from, or we need to, and that if one of the things that we were talking about yesterday was that it needs to be in us in order for us to recognize it. So
Yes,
that's kind of
I,
hard
I think
too.
I think something just came through for me, Kim, is that we don't think alike, but we do feel very like this is where I think we really truly connect is through the heart.
Hmm.
We have the same feelings. We can be hurt. We can also hurt people, intentionally, unintentionally. We're all sensitive creatures. We're all living beings, and we've come equipped with emotions and thoughts, and it's complex. I say just be kind to yourself, and then it'll seep over onto others.
Okay. So all right. So conscious co-creation. We know about that, but one of the really, really, really big things that came to me last year was the amount of times that I was verbalizing the negative stuff, just going around to friends and just talking about what was wrong with my life, and then doing like stopping myself and thinking, oh, hold on a second, I'm giving a whole lot of energy to what's wrong and not what's right, or but without actually being mindful of doing that, and that part of our conscious creation. So if we can possibly, I mean, it's okay. Um, it's okay to verbalize the negative stuff, especially if it's bothering you and you can't get your head around it. But not kind of go around repeating the misery of what's wrong, kind of thing. So Ginger did a lot of work with the shadow during the last 3 months. And in that, I'll let her explain. But she came to really honor it. That was what she was telling me. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Yeah, they're not these little, it's a part of who we are. We are the yin and yang. We are the light and the dark. We're both. And so to deny part of us, we have to learn. I think it's important to learn to love all aspects of this experience that we're having. And that includes the little shadow part of us. And I don't think it's as dark as scary as I mean maybe for some people it's a dark and scary place. Maybe I'm more fortunate because I've done a lot of shadow work in the past, but I think that there's always more to clear. And it sits there in the shadows. It's the energy of things that we don't want to talk about. We don't want to face that. It gets ignored. And it's the kind of thing that will ruminate in your mind. It'll come back and torment you, because you didn't give it the attention that you needed when it happened. Maybe you experienced a trauma and you had to get back to life immediately. You didn't have time to process it. It's still there. And I think it's just very important. Like I've always sort of asked for guidance from my highest authority. And I've recently said, dear Shadow, what is it that you want to say? What is it that you want me to know? And with that, I was able to identify wounds that I had forgotten about, um, bitterness, any kind of hostility that I may have held at any point in my life. This kind of thing still sitting there waiting to be released. And so I don't know that you can release it so much as you can accept it. You can accept it as part of your experience and also accept that there's wisdom in the dark. The moon
I'm
to me is the dark,
recognizing it.
it's the darkness, it's the mystic, it's the dark, it's so to say the shadow is negative, I'm not so sure. It's just well hidden. It feels like it's the silence, the emotional energy, the things that we just don't want to look at. A lot of people spend big time and money on avoiding that, whether it be through gambling, sports, alcohol, addictions. I don't want to think about that. I want to push it away. And I think we resist what we fear the most. And what I've learned is that through this experience, I've learned that vibrationally, fear does not exist there. If you're trying to raise your vibration, you will not find fear in the higher levels of vibration. So I think it's very important for us to sit
Can
with
you
it
tell
and
me
clear it.
why? Why wouldn't you find fear
Why?
in the higher thoughts?
You won't find it there because it is such a dense vibration. And I sense that there's only really two energies at work here, love and fear. And so with love, Kim, I think I sent you a little chart to make it a little easier. With love, I see it as kind of a low vibration when you look at it on a scale. If you look at it, we talk about spectrums. If you look at love and fear on the spectrum, they're almost the same thing. And so above love would be the lowest vibration on a high vibrational scale. This isn't exactly what I sort of picture, but to give you an idea, I see love and fear sort of sitting in the middle, and everything above love, like acceptance and forgiveness and gratitude and enlightenment, and that's all above love. So love is the very least to open that vortex of energy. Fear can't be there because if we accept, then we have no fear. If we love, then it's without fear. We cannot love unless we open to love. And we have to let go of fear in order to open to that higher vibration. And this is why they keep us in a fear vibration.
Okay, but love backwards is evolve. So,
Mhm.
in order for us to evolve, we have to love. We have to embrace love. We have to
I agree.
attract. We have to. We have to address issues and problems through love, not through anger and hatred and fear and desire and guilt. And we've got to attract. We've got to actually do it through love and patience and like a kind of attitude of walk a million miles in my shoes. I mean, there's many things that we can have opinions about, and it being anger in relation to other people's behaviors, but they all get there somehow. They all get to where they're at somehow, and maybe they just had really, really bad experiences in their lives.
And again, avoiding the shadow, avoiding the parts that made us bitter. To me, what fear encompasses is all the lower vibrational stuff. So hate, anger, bitterness, fear, jealousy. If you've encountered those feelings, and I'm sure you have, we're all having we're all having a human experience. We're all each other's reflection. There is only one consciousness. And the telepathy tapes, I think, prove that, but that's another story. And again, for them, it's vibrational too. They say not everybody can do this because they can't be deceptive. So right there, it's like that lower vibration. You wouldn't be deceptive unless you were afraid. So you see how fear, this is how I've become to separate it to be only two energies,
Hmm.
fear and love.
Okay, so two things, two more things about this year. I mean, one of the really sort of aha moments I had the other day was I clearly saw how leading, everything that we've been doing over the last few years was leading up to us being able to integrate and actually express ourselves in a completely unique way. So
Yeah.
the idea of this year is that let your uniqueness as an individual shine through. Start recognizing the unique aspects of self and start letting those aspects shine. The second thing is uh, radically releasing the victim mentality. We're not victims.
No.
Absolutely not victims. And that's a radical thing. Get rid of it. And then the third thing was that the time is now. So
Yeah.
when we've got a problem that faces us or a situation that's facing us that we don't know what to do about, then put it out into the future in relation to a possible solution to that. But let go of it and don't mull over it and don't. It's all about now. It's all about not ruminating over your problems and what have you. Is bringing yourself back to the now, which you can do in nature. No matter where you are in the world, you can do it in nature. I mean, Ginger before just showed me a beautiful scene of it snowing outside of a house. I don't know whether you want to turn that around and show
I can do
everybody.
that. Sure.
All right, I'll stop sharing
Pardon
for
my,
a second to just to show you. It's beautiful. Hmm.
been like this for years now. I love it. This all accumulated since New Year's Eve. We had a lot of mud because we had received a lot of rain, and all the snow that we had, quite a bit like this, had all melted. And so suddenly we were up to our knees in mud. And now
Look at
this is just since New Year's Eve.
look at that. Look at how deep it is at the gate. So taking up half the day at the gate. Look at that. Ooh, scary. Lots of
Yeah.
snow.
Yeah, especially if you're in Australia, I'm sure it would be scary.
Yeah,
We're
but like,
ready for it. We have a snowblower and a plow and a tractor, and all of this really is maybe not needed, but it sure helps make it easier to live in this climate.
nah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Our dogs love it too. I think you might be able to see their trails down there.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, trudging through the snow.
They love it. Our old girl, especially, she comes back to being a puppy again in this weather. She loves this.
That's good.
Yeah,
All right, I'll go back to sharing the screen.
thank you.
So sorry. Um,
I'm still here.
we're
I'm
not,
still here.
all right. So we're not doing this alone. We've got loads and loads and loads of help from inside. And anytime we are, oh my goodness. What? I know.
What, Kim?
Oh, the dog. Teddy,
Okay.
Teddy, come here. Teddy. Look at what have you done? The dog's got the idea that it's a really good idea to go around ripping plants about the garden. He's currently got it in his mouth. I don't know whether you can see him shooting past. I'll get him. Show you if I can get him. Come here.
That's pretty funny
Come here.
for Ted. He's
Come
added
here.
you.
No, he's run out with it. It's all over the floor behind me.
Oh,
Hey, Teddy, Teddy, come here. You see him in the bottom of the camera. Come here. Come here. Teddy. When you see the plant in his mouth on the floor. No.
no.
Where is he? Ah, where's the evidence? No, the evidence is off the camera. Can you see it
You'll not
now?
have any plants left.
I know it's been going around ripping plants left. I know it's been going around ripping plants out the garden. Then he brings them in the house and he rips them up all over the floor. Teddy, that's really naughty. Bad boy. All right, sorry.
He thinks it's fun. He
I
thinks
know.
naughty is fun. He's my kind of Teddy.
Well, we'll have to deal with that later. Leave it alone. Leave the plant alone. No, you're so naughty. All right. So sorry. Uh, so the time's now. The energy is now. So try not to worry too much about what's going to happen and just deal with what's right now. And I mean, all of this is really old stuff. It's just that we're sort of integrating it all into one ball to get through this year because there's going to be lots and lots and lots of chaos in the external world. The chaos may not necessarily be yours, but
Well, yeah, I agree with Pam about the outer planets. And my perception of the outer planets is the outer world. So it'd be our relationships with people. It could be our relationships with businesses, banks. It could be a lot of things. These planets are very slow moving. Neptune, Pluto, Uranus. Um, those are very slow moving planets.
why are you
And they
upside
stay
down?
How's that?
I thought you got one on the roof for a minute. You got on the ceiling or something. It was hanging off the ceiling.
Uh, I guess
Like,
after my snow show, I didn't do it. I didn't put it back right.
right.
Yeah,
So
no, I think that that's what we're going to be seeing is a lot of our outer world changing. So the inner world is a reflection of Mercury, our communication planet. Mars. How do we act? What are our desires? And Venus. What do we love? What is beautiful to us?
okay. And then I'm just going to go on to talk about the telepathy tapes a bit. So, um, what the telepath, what the
Hey,
telepathy
what's up,
tapes
everyone? This is Kai Dick.
is about is telepathy across dimensions, death, and beyond. So, Ginger been having some experiences which she's going to talk about in relation to this. So, go far away, Ginger.
Well, I sat next to a young man about 10 years ago, and I knew that he was autistic and that there was a good chance he wouldn't be comfortable speaking with me because he was somewhat nonverbal. And as I sat next to him, I could hear him in my head, and we had a full-blown conversation. And it's the first time I'd ever had an experience like that. And I reached out to someone close to him and explained what I had experienced. And fortunately, they were also quite familiar with this concept. And they were open, and the two of us started to test one another. I tested my dogs, can my dogs hear me telepathically? And I do believe they can. You might say energetically. They pick up on our vibes, even if not our thoughts. So we know that energy has a vibration, but apparently our language and, some of these tapes will reveal that these nonverbal people are able to, if I read a book, they know the book because they can read my mind and they've read the book because I read the book. And they can explain in great detail what the book was all about without ever reading it. So it's a superpower that we've come to label as autism or, some other defect. And to me, these are not defects. These are superpowers that modern society rejects
But you
because
was
they don't understand it. And these tapes are scientifically, I mean, it's all done very well. They have they've put it to the test with some young people that were able to come forward. So there's a number of different ways of seeing it. You might be contacting a loved one from the other side. That's still kind of telepathic. It's the same idea. Um, but we can do this in real time. It reminds me also of distant energy healing for anybody that's explored that realm. You can send healing energy to someone no matter where they are in the room. You do not have to lay hands on them. You can send that energy, and it can be quite powerful. So it's the same kind of thing. It's learning to work without the limitations that we subject ourselves to at this moment, which is internet. And I mean, who's to say time travel is not possible? A lot of people will say time is an illusion. So it's just bigger thinking that I'm really happy to see this, because I think it's important for us to have different conversations about these superpowers. And these children, these young people have been given a vehicle to express their thoughts without words.
I know some of our audience have got non-verbal children because we talked about
A
it like
lot of,
a couple of years ago. I talked to somebody who's got one locally, and
well, I also feel our language is corrupt, and that the children always come to teach us, and we've got it backwards. We're always interested in showing them everything and downloading all of our troubles onto their subconscious minds. Why? We're to learn from them. They will teach us. They will show us what we have yet to learn. They are the future. And if we could get into a different pose with children, we would have a far different experience. They would teach us that this mystical realm that we speak of is quite real. And if we would just stop telling them that it's all in their head, but like I say, modern world is saying it's very dismissive. Science says no such thing. They've studied it. They know it's there. They don't want us to know it's there. They go to a great amount of trouble to keep this from us.
what came to mind was Whitney Houston, "Greatest Love of All," because that song in the lyrics, it starts
I
with
believe the
the children
children are
are
our
our
future.
future.
Yes.
Let them lead the way. And let them show the
Yes.
beauty. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us of how we used to be. And then
And it's happening. I'm so grateful for these tapes, because I think it's just the tip of the iceberg. I think this is going to reveal so much. It's a conversation that I've tried to have with so many people over the last 10 years, and with many positive results, from teachers and caregivers of people who are nonverbal. And they agree. They agree, but predominantly I've heard we don't know how to speak about this because people are so strongly opposed. And it's got to be really challenging to live in that very silent world and not be taken seriously. These are highly intelligent people who can articulate what they cannot say verbally. And as I said, our words are highly corruptible, and we need to learn the language of energy. I think that's, for me, what has happened for 2025. It's about clarity. It's about learning to actually integrate and speak that language of energy. Know that what you put out comes back. Know that what they send to you, you don't have to receive it. You have a shield for that. If you want it, if it's of high value, you can allow that energy to pour all over you. But you can likewise block hostile energy.
You actually, I'm changing the subject entirely here, but back to what you were saying about the timelines, right? You sent me a video just before this video here. I'll play this one. I'll just set it up again.
Been to the past or the future.
Thought.
Can you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Past is thought.
No. You think of the past, but you think of the past now. Have you ever actually been to the place called the past that you think about?
No.
It's not possible. Nobody's ever been there. It's a belief. It's just a belief that we all take for granted. Is it your experience that the now is moving along a line of time from the past to the future? Is the now moving? And how long does the now last? It doesn't last. The now doesn't last in time. There is no time for the now to last in. Now is not a moment sandwiched between these two vast spaces. There is no vast space either side of the now. The now is not a moment. These are New Age ideas. They have nothing to do with truth or reality. The now is not a moment. Now is eternity, the ever-present, not the everlasting. But when that now is filtered through the limitations of the mind, it appears as time.
Okay. Got it.
The mind is like a prism which refracts the now, which has no dimensions, into a single dimension of time.
So, that was Robert Edward Grant. That was on Facebook. I can't link any of these Facebook things, but what I can do is write the names of the people that did the videos. But I had an experience last year with Claudio, actually, where Claudio depicted to me how you could change the past. Like, it was kind of a mind-blowing experience. And what it was looking at past situations with the awareness that I've got now and seeing that they actually didn't play out as memories. The memories I had of them were very distorted because of my capacity back at that age to perceive it, or to perceive perceive the reality that I was living in, and especially in relation to reaction, like how I triggered people through reactions or something like that, and how different it would be if I was to look back at the past and see if how those triggers probably weren't pertinent, but my mind was
In that
distorted at that
moment, they
time.
were. In that
Yeah,
moment, they were.
yeah.
And this is why I think it's so important for us to just, be patient and be observers for people, because I feel like everybody is a reflection of me. You're a reflection of me. I'm a reflection of you. We reflect one another. But so if they're not reflecting who I think I am in this moment, they are possibly reflecting who I was in another lifetime, as a young girl, as a future version of me. For lack of better words, like I'm still using the language, but I totally get what that person's saying about everything is now. There is no past, there is no future, it's all now.
Mm-hmm.
And when we spend a lot of time reflecting on the old stories, this can lead to depression. And when we spend a lot of time thinking about what hasn't happened yet in the future, that creates a great amount of anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to control something that hasn't even happened yet. So it's so important for us to be, again, it's the middle path, it's the now. That's where the one is. That's where I resides.
All right. Anything else you want to say before I cut this off?
You pulled that up, Kim. Were we going to look at the masculine, or do you feel that we already did that?
I think we talked about everything on there. I think we talked about the fact that all is the mind, that the whole thing we're creating it, we're co-creators.
Mhm.
I don't know about the correspondence as below, so below.
Well, we were going to talk a little bit about the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and
Okay.
and I think we did cover that sufficiently. Like, it really is a part of who we are. We each have those energies within us. It's how we were created, and it's a little imbalanced because we've lived in a world where the feminine has been suppressed,
Yeah.
and the feminine is now rising. And hopefully, we can do that without becoming toxic, because we'll be no better off.
Well,
It's about having balance. I know somebody else said their word this year is harmony. It's about having harmony and balance, and being in the middle with those two forces of energy, being in the middle with the guides and with the shadows. It is what creates us.
Hmm. Something just came to mind there that I don't know, but it seems to me that the aspect of the divine feminine is quite gentle, and the aspect of the divine masculine is quite ruthless.
Well, if we go back and look at cavemen, I think, or what we believed about that story, he was out hunting and she was the nurturer. She was the one sort of closer to home, gathering and minding the so-called cave. I mean, who knows if any of that's true,
I
but
don't know.
this is what we've been conditioned to do. I don't know that it's so natural because I think I have known a lot of very vicious feminine
Yeah,
and a lot of very kind-hearted masculine.
yeah, but then again, it's divine. It's not. I was talking in the way that we integrate these principles, and
Yes,
we need both of them. I
yes,
mean, the masculine's been hugely suppressed in this world that we live in. Hugely, like in relation to the domination side of things,
yes,
the out of control domination that the stronger they were, and the rest got dominated because of their sheer power. But then, I mean, it comes back as well to that. What's his name? Comes back to the Mayan stuff, and the power train being derailed by the ethics train. Um,
yes.
that ethics is far more powerful than power is alone, and that the ethical
We would,
principles, if we deal with things through ethical principles, it's far greater in power than the powertrain is.
yes.
So
We
I
were
mean,
looking at, sorry, go ahead.
well, we're just not dealing with anything new. We're just pulling into ourselves all of these things that we've been doing and sort of conglomerating them all, so we can be the most ethical souls we can be to just get through what we've got to get through.
Yes. Well, and I think it's about being authentic. Personally, I think
Authentic.
being authentic is the highest vibration, and that takes a great amount of courage. No fear in that vibration.
Well,
To be authentic.
you've got authority in authentic, and you've also got the author in
Yes,
authentic.
right.
So we're writing
That's
our
right.
own stories, and
And the AU for
it's the gold.
autism, who once again they claim that experience that they have is not open to people who are deceptive. So you cannot be deceptive if you're authentic.
No.
And so the AU is the symbol for gold.
Hmm.
And that is the gold is that's the sun's metal. So that's the metal of the sun, the heart. And so again, it's so important for us to open our heart and become a loving, kind vibration to achieve the kind of ascension that I think most of us are seeking. I do think some of us are still resisting, and that's the chaos that we'll witness this year, unfortunately.
Hmm.
I do think we all get the guidance, but it's up to us. We have free will, and we get to choose whether or not we chase it.
Okay. All right. So I'll link everything below and write the names down of the people that I played on YouTube, and um, we'll we'll talk later. Hope you enjoyed it.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See ya.
Bye. Thanks, Kim.
I have to find out how to stop this, and I can never remember. Bye.